guys, just doing a bit of a movement standard video on the ring dip. My name's Coach Loz and this is Coach B-Rad and we're from CrossFit Nelson. So we're just going to run through a bit of our expectations on what a full ring dip should look like. So B-Rad's going to be my demo dude today, and he's just going to run through the beginning position on a ring dip. So we've got the rings at about just under the armpit height, so you do have to jump onto the rings to begin the movement. So he's just going to jump onto the movement and show you the fully extended position. So his elbows are fully locked out, so they're extended. He's got his rings really nice and tight to the body, and he's also got a nice hollow rock position. So he's going to maintain this as he comes into the ring dip. So as he comes through, his chest and his head come through, and you'll notice that his elbows are just above the shoulders, which is perfect. He's still maintaining that hollow rock position, and he's going to press out of that and keeping the rings tight to his body, and just rotate the wrists as he comes out of that position as well. Okay, so he's just going to demo a couple in a row so you can see what that looks like. Coming on through, rings close to the body and pressing out, so that full support position at the top, the elbows are locked out. Beautiful. Nice. So if you're wondering whether to get on the rings or not, he's just going to demo just holding onto the rings. So it's called a static hold. So if you're wondering whether you can actually do a ring dip, just jump onto the rings. Just make sure that you do have to jump out off the ground into that ring dip position, and just hold the rings close to the body for as long as you can, just to try and get a little bit of strength through those shoulders, practicing pulling those rings into the hips really nice and tight, and also maintaining that hollow rock position. So doing that a couple of times, just trying to hold that static hold. Then you can progress on to negative training, so getting into that static hold or that ring dip position, and then just slowly lowering the body through, doing eccentrics just like we've been doing through that pull-up program, and then lowering yourself to the floor. So I'm going to demo that. So just a slow negative or eccentric right to the floor, and then when you come down to the bottom you can just press out onto the bottom. So this is one way that you can start getting a little bit of strength in the shoulders and in the triceps, and feeling that stretch through the chest as well. Now, scaling options for the ring dip. We've got a band here. We've got a couple of options for you guys, and it's really up to you what you feel the most comfortable with. So placing the band around the rings, and you can go full feet through the band. So just making that loop so it's nice and secure, and then just holding on to the band on the other side. So that's going to make sure that that won't slip through. So you can go full feet, so both feet through. You've got to be really flexible through the hamstrings to get this as well. And then from the bottom, pressing out into that full support position, and you can maintain exactly what we talked about before in that ring dip position. So the hollow rock, the shoulders coming forward, shoulders, chest and head are coming forward, the elbows are above the shoulders, and he's able to maintain the rings nice and close to the body. So that's one option. Another option is popping both knees in to into the band. Hardest thing is actually getting yourself into the band. Again, same position, that same hollow rock position. Elbows above the shoulders, so still looking really, really good. Another way that you can do this is just one knee in the band, so one's floating free, so that you can just press yourself out. If you're worried that you can't get through the amount of reps through the WOD, you can always have the safety of being able to press yourself off the ground through that ring dip. Okay, so some other scaling options for the dip. We can set up two boxes, and they should be just outside hip width apart, and your hands should be located just on the middle of the box there, just so that you can still maintain your shoulders nice and close to your body without having to flare out or if they're too wide away from you. Okay, so just coming into the middle of those boxes, keeping that chest upright and just bending at the knees, you can lower yourself into that dip and press out. So it's still the same, exactly the same look as on the dips. The elbows are coming over the shoulders, but if you start to fatigue, you can place your knees on the ground and press out by using your feet out of the bottom of that dip. Okay, so you can stand up out of the dip and have a break or help yourself up. Another option is keeping the feet on the ground the whole time during the dip. So the further away from the body is going to be harder, taking more of your body weight, but you're still maintaining contact with the ground the whole time. So you can adjust that depending on your level or ability. So the closer it is to the box, the easier it's going to be. You're taking less of your body weight through the arms or through the upper body. Another way that we can do this is using a box dip. So we're going to turn one onto the side, depending on the athlete's height. A little bit taller than that. So just from one side, and this is a really good one during the WOD. You can just have the hands just outside the legs and just letting the hips come off with the palms facing down. Oh, fingers forward. Yeah. So palms facing forward and just letting the hips come off the side of the bench. The same concept applies. So the further away the feet are, the harder it's going to be. So more body weight, more of the weight is going to be taken through the triceps. The closer, you can adjust it, the closer the feet are to the body, the easier it's going to be. So the athlete again can scale this for themselves. Still maintaining that same range, the elbows are still coming above the shoulders, so still a really, really good option and easy to do during the workout as well. Okay, cool. Alrighty, so the reason for the full range of movement that we're doing in the ring dip is, or if you're wondering why we have to go so low, why we keep pointing out about the elbows being above the shoulders, is simply because of the receiving position in a muscle up. So this is where we're going to end up in a muscle up, right at the bottom of that ring dip. So you can see the rings are right by the armpits, which is where we're aiming to be at the bottom of a ring dip. And in a muscle up, we're going to have to press out of this position right to that full support position that we talked about. So if you think pockets to armpits is a good way to cue the full range of motion here. So that full position, receiving position on the muscle up. If you've got some strict dips and you're feeling pretty okay with them, another way for more efficiency, say a workout calls for say 50 ring dips, and for efficiency you can do a kipping ring dip, which I'll demonstrate here. So as he comes down into the ring dip, the knees are going to come up as he presses out to help his upper body into that full support position and that full lockout at the top. So for efficiency, we can do the kipping ring dip, but again, great to have a good strength base being able to do strict ring dips first before being able to practice the kipping ring dip. Thought we'd also run through a couple of bad forms of what we don't expect to see with the ring dip. So for a start, the internal rotation of the shoulders and not able to maintain or get that full range of motion. So we're going to see that now. So the shoulders coming forward and trying to press out. So one way to think about it is when you come into the dip is pull your shoulder blades together, and that will enable the shoulder to maintain that good position or that good support position rather than letting it internally rotate and not getting the full strength out of that movement. So just another one is partial range of movement, so shortening the range and only doing these cute little dips there. So that's again not getting the full strength out of the movement. So whenever you're starting to learn the muscle up, not being able to press out of that receiving position of the muscle up, it's not going to be a very helpful movement for you. So full range of movement, always really important with the ring dip.